Right now, over 70 million people in North America report chronic sleep problems. Shift workers have up to 40% higher risk of metabolic disease. Circadian disruption has been classified by the WHO, World Health Organization, as a possible carcinogen when chronic. Welcome to the Uncover Your Eyes show. I'm your host, Dr. Meenal Agarwal. If you haven't already hit the follow or subscribe button, please do so. Let us know you're listening. It helps us bring you better episodes weekly. Have you ever gone to bed exhausted, slept 7 or 8 hours and still woke up tired? Or maybe you feel completely wired at 10 p.m., but you're crashing at 2 p.m. Most people assume it's stress, hormones, caffeine, aging, but sometimes it's simpler than that. Sometimes it's just timing. Today, I want to talk to you about something that most of you probably haven't heard of, that your eyes are controlling your sleep, hormones, and energy more than your coffee does. Deep in your brain, in a region called the hypothalamus, sits a tiny cluster of about 20,000 neurons. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. It's small, but it runs the show. The SCN is your body's master clock. It regulates your sleep-wake cycle, cortisol release, melatonin timing, body temperature, hunger signals, hormone rhythms, even gene expression. Every cell in your body has its own mini clock, but the SCN keeps them synchronized. I like to think of it as an orchestra conductor. Without it, the violin shows up at midnight, the drums show up at 2 p.m., and the horns didn't even get the memo. That's what it feels like when your circadian rhythm is off. You feel off, but you can't explain why. Now, here's where it gets fascinating, especially as an eye doctor. Your brain, your body doesn't tell the time by a clock. It tells the time by light that enters your eye and hits the retina. It hits these specialized cells called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, and they respond specifically to light, especially morning light. This morning light has a unique kind of blue enriched wavelength that sends the strongest signal to those intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. Indoor light or even bright office light is often 10 to 50 times dimmer than outdoor light on a cloudy day. So that difference matters. And just to give some context, most indoor lighting is only about 50 to 500 lux, but outside on a cloudy day, you can easily hit 1,000 to 10,000 lux. And in full sun, it can be 50,000 to 100,000 lux. When light enters your eye, it travels to the SCN through the retinohypothalamic tract. This is one of the only places in your brain where the eyes talk directly to the master clock. Light hits your eyes, that signal goes to the SCN, and the SCN tells your body, it's morning, release cortisol, suppress melatonin, increase your alertness. You don't consciously decide to wake up hormonally. Light does that for you. And this is why morning light is not a productivity hack, it's biology. When your SCN doesn't get that consistent morning light in the morning, your clock drifts. And when the clock drifts, you can wake up groggy. Cortisol peaks later. Afternoon energy crashes hit harder. You feel wired at night. Melatonin release gets delayed. And mood becomes less stable. This isn't laziness, it isn't lack of discipline, it's circadian misalignment. And when your circadian rhythm drifts, it doesn't just affect sleep, it destabilizes your cortisol timing. And cortisol timing influences emotional resilience, which means sometimes what we label as anxiety or low motivation is actually circadian instability. 30 years ago, most people woke up with natural light, not their phone light, and they spent a lot of time outdoors. And then at nighttime, they recognized it was nighttime and went to sleep. So there was that cycle of light or morning and night. Now we wake up in dim indoor lighting, scroll in bed, commute in cars, work under artificial lights, and expose our eyes to LED at 10:30 p.m. We live in dim days and bright nights, but our biology evolved for bright days and dark nights. This mismatch matters. Teenagers are biologically wired to shift later. During puberty, their brains release melatonin later at night, which naturally pushes their sleep time back. But when you combine that with screens at midnight and no morning light exposure, you amplify the delay. And then we wonder why they can't wake up, focus, or regulate emotion. Research has linked chronic circadian disruption to insulin's resistance, weight gain, mood disorders, cardiovascular disease, cognitive impairment, hormonal imbalance. This is not biohacking, this is circadian biology. I had a patient recently in her 40s. She was healthy, eating healthy, living well, exercising, motivated, going to work, had a great life. But she told me, I'm exhausted all the time. I fall asleep late. I wake up tired. I need coffee to function. And by 3 p.m., I feel like I could cry for no reason. She thought she was failing at adulthood. Her labs were normal, her hormones were within range, her iron was fine. So I asked her a simple question. When do you see natural light in the morning? She paused. I wake up in the dark, I check my phone in bed, I rush the kids, I drive to work, I probably don't really see daylight until lunch. There it was, her body wasn't broken, her clock was drifting. I didn't recommend a supplement. I didn't recommend, a change in diet. I recommended only one thing. And now let me be clear, this isn't a replacement for medical evaluation. If you're dealing with significant insomnia, depression, thyroid issues, or sleep apnea, you need proper care. But circadian alignment is foundational. So I asked her to do this one thing. Within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, go outside for 5 to 15 minutes. Even if it's a cloudy day, don't wear your sunglasses, just go outside, drink your morning coffee there, go for a walk, take your first phone call outside, but just go outside if you can. By doing this, you're sending a signal, and that's important. And that signal needs to be consistent. 2 weeks later, she told me, I fall asleep earlier without trying. I don't crash at 3 p.m. anymore, and I feel calmer in the evenings. We didn't fix her hormones, we fixed her timing. Your visual system is not only about seeing clearly. It regulates hormones, mood, metabolism, energy timing, emotional regulation. This suprachiasmatic nucleus might be tiny, but it influences nearly every system in your body. Sometimes what feels like burnout is actually circadian rhythm misalignment. Sometimes what feels like anxiety is actually unstable cortisol timing. Sometimes what feels like laziness is biology waiting for a light signal. So here's my question for you. When was the last time you saw natural morning light before 9 a.m.? If this episode resonated, share it with a friend or somebody who just says they're tired all the time and needs better rest. And if you want to go deeper, subscribe to my newsletter on Substack called Uncover Your Eyes, and you'll get more information on circadian rhythm in kids, screens at night, and melatonin, and how circadian timing affects spatial awareness. And if I could leave you with one thing, it would be before you blame your willpower, check your light exposure, because biology always wins over discipline. Thank you, listeners and viewers, for tuning in. If you want to catch more episodes of Uncover Your Eyes, make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. To learn more about me, follow me on Instagram at dr.Meenal Agarwal. Until next time, keep those eyes uncovered.